Hello, fellow traders. 'Tis I, the Rumpled One, coming to you Sunday, March the 14th. The year's 2021. Let's talk trading. It's time for the weekly open and gap. And it's time for me to remind you these videos are for educational purposes only. Your results may differ from mine. I hope everybody had a fun, safe, and enjoyable weekend, and you're ready to get back to it at your trading platforms. And once again, most of the weekly gaps have been filled. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 that haven't. So if you're one of those traders that wants to start with the weekly gaps, those are the ones you can look to fill. And let's see, we're right around the weekly open. We're 32 pips off the high, so obviously price ran up. It's coming back down. And so we'll see what happens next. Now, I've had a few traders. In fact, I talked to a couple of them on the phone over the weekend, and they have the same question. They ask me, what's my favorite indicator? What indicators do I use? And I always tell them, I have to laugh. First thing I say is, look, horizontal line is my favorite indicator, okay? Most of the indicators that you see that plot on charts plot horizontal lines, or they'll plot a dot, but they mark a level. So, as opposed to a squiggly line. You guys know how I feel about those squiggly lines. So, and then I say it depends, because it depends on the time of day. It depends on what instrument you're trading. It depends on how far prices range so far at the time. So I just can't give a offhand, well, this indicator versus that indicator. I mean, you can use TRO HL5 and it'll do just about, well, I think it'll do at least three. It'll do buy zone, it'll do rat zone, and it'll do wick zone. And those are three of the methods that I like to employ. So here we have the opening day range. As you can see here, we are in the opening range for the month, first day of the month's range right here. So looking to go short at about 39.03 and going long at, call it 39.99. And we're right below the monthly open, you can see here, by 12 pips. So the way things are going, it looks like price could be heading down now. But we'll just have to wait and see what happens. 274 pips above the yearly open. You can see the month 12, week, day the same. H4 minus 20. So let's come back down. Another horizontal line, the inside bar here. You can see here we've got a weekly inside bar 1 week ago. Let's switch over to the weekly so you can see this was an inside bar on the week right here. 5 months ago we had an inside bar. So this will be interesting to see what happens if price gets to one of these extremes. So 140.04 or 137.95. So just keep that in mind as you're trading this month. We still have half a month to go. A lot can happen. Range, as you can see here, nothing even close to 100, really. Well, we got 82, the highest one out of the bunch. And you can see here, price is right back to that daily, weekly open. So first method using horizontal lines here, we are looking at the buy zone. So you can see here we had the pivot point above the open, so fading the pivot already would have taken that out. That would have been worth a few pips. Not a bad trade, and even more if you wrote it. So we're right back to the weekly open. If you just took that crossover, you might be up a pip or half a pip. We're right about break even right now, taking the pip to the downside. We've already taken out the pivot to the upside, so now you're free to trade, or you could wait for price to get here to take the trade. But you know, just the weekly open, daily open. See, price needs to range away from this level because we've only moved what 34 pips for the day, and the range is way too low. So prices either has to come down or go up, or we're going to have a really weird day. Have a 34, 35 pip range on the pound dollar. Just not going to happen. So looking at the chart, I would think price might come down, say, maybe it'll visit the 139.00 area again, possibly today. That's not that far away. So that's what I would look for. And as you can see, price is going down. Okay, rat zone traders. Range is too low, so we can't even consider the rat zone. But the rat zone is when price has already moved away from the open by, say, in the case of the pound, at least about 50 pips before you start considering a reversal. Because if you look at the statistics on it, which we'll probably do a few charts from now, you can see that we usually have those hefty ranges from the open to low, and where is the open? And open to high. Actually, the open isn't on this particular chart. Or is it? Yeah, no, it's not. Okay, weekly pivot 139.09. Look for price to take that out shortly. So there's an interesting, you had the daily pivot above the open, the weekly pivot below it. It looks like it's going to take them both out. And here the D1 missed pivots. We've got a pivot above and a pivot below. And there's a lot of pips between those two. So price might just range in here for a while. And looking at the weekly, we just about hit the weekly. We've got 10.3 and we need 9.4 to take out that weekly pivot. And the wick zone, you can see we got a pretty big wick zone here from Friday, and prices back into the wick zone. You see it started in the wick zone, left the wick zone. And this is another horizontal line trade I like to take. And as I mentioned earlier, the ranges. So you can see here on the weekly, high minus close here at 38 is only 24%, and close minus low is 0, 1, it's at the 0%. So you can see even if it gets to 75, that's only at the 38 percentile. Here 134 is above the 50. So once again, we need to see at least 50 pips. This is high minus close. Actually, what I wanted to look at was the high minus open and open minus low. So let me see if I can remember where those, let's see. Nope. Close minus low. Yeah, let's do, we can switch this over to the daily. And so open minus the low. You can see here for buy zone traders, 123 is the 90, 15 or 7 is only 15%. So this should probably get higher. But you can see 1 day ago we only hit 18 high minus open, but open minus low was 123. So you can see where those percentiles were. So far today, we've got 33 and 7. Ran out of room on the screen. That's why I only have the current and the previous. So favorite indicators, the smart range would definitely be one of them, because that tells me, should I look for a reversal or should I wait, sit on my hands? It's one of those reasons not to take a trade. So once again, we've only got a daily range at the moment of 40 pips. I'm not really looking for reversals. I'm looking for price to move away from the open, especially possibly to the downside. Oh, looks like we filled that pivot. 8.9, was it that 9.4 we were looking for? Yeah, so we filled that pivot. Pivot's gone. And so that's how that works. Favorite indicators. I like having my magnified market price up here because it kind of gives me that GPS reading that I like to look at. I like the multimeter here because it also has the buttons I can switch, and I don't even need to have this button indicator. And it also tells me how many times in a row I've got 4 red candles on the M5 here, 2 on the H1, and you can see with the bright red means that the current price is below the previous low of here on H1, below the previous low on here. So it's basically telling me, the bright color says, hey, price is expanding, whereas the darker red says price has not. It's in this case, it's above those previous lows. I also like having the time here. And the whole reason I made this indicator, because there were so many people way back when giving me grief about, I posted charts, blah, I'm like Harry hindsight. So this way, when I post a chart or do the video, you can see the timestamp, the bar, the server, the local, and now GMT. And it also tells me when the bar ends, just like the B clock does. And then somebody asked me to put the ATR and the range in there for them, so I did. Yeah, and so somebody else asked me to do an indicator for them. I haven't had a chance to look at it, been kind of busy. 3-level ZZ indicator that I modified. So it tells me what the bias is, tells me what the range is between the last 2 semaphores, and it tells me the distance price is off the most recent semaphore. That way, and so if it's negative, it's actually below the semaphore. The indicator, you can see there now, it finally updated. So yeah, favorite indicators. That's pretty much it. Sweet spots gold that I modified that now shows the Walmart lines. It's the simple stuff. Simple, simple, simple. In fact, I was watching some of you know I play bass, and I was watching a Prince's old bass player. His name is Brown Mark. And he was saying, keep it simple, keep it simple, keep it simple. So you see that keep it simple, isn't just for trading. It goes into music, goes into life. So anyway, fellow traders, I'm going to keep it simple and end the video right now because the fastest 15 minutes in trading is just about up. So just remember, it's not what you trade, it's how you trade it. So go out there and drain the banks. And if you're new here, please hit subscribe and click like and share the video all over the internet. Rumpled One over and